Welcome to the Bolle Safety Webshop, prescription webshop. First of all, I'm going to show you how to log in to the Bolle Safety Webshop. Now, first of all, we need to go to the Bolle Safety website, and at the top here you will see a button for optical webshop. Click into this button and you will see an area where you would put your username and password, which would have been sent to you in advance of when you actually got yourself set up onto the system. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to use the test account just to show you how this works. So first of all, we need to just log in using our login details, and we're going to sign in. So this is a customer, an end user of the web shop, and you've got two areas here. The first area is the prescription form. The second area is for the order history. This area here is so that you can actually see the jobs in progress. So we're going to have a look at that first. So, as you the company now will see all the jobs that you've actually done in the past, with the order reference number for the employee, the status the job is actually in at the time, the last update, the patient's name, and the PO number that will have been given to Bolle to process your order. You can go into any of these jobs by using the detail button here, and this will actually show you the job in its entirety and the costings and so on. So for this particular demonstration, we'll create a new prescription form for an employee. So the first thing we need to do is to put in their surname. Surname first, then the first name, and then the department they actually work in. In here we can put a message for the optician to follow, a particular instruction. So if you want to restrict what this particular employee can have in his choice of frames, for instance, or coatings that he might want put on there, you can actually put in that area what you would like that employee to have. And you can put anything in there and the optician will be able to see it when they actually go into the opticians. Here is your account details, which will be pre-filled in, your distribution details of who you're buying through, and also your partner optician. Once you've done that, you can then save the form. It will then give you a unique reference number here for that particular person. You then need to log off. Now, for the demonstration purpose, I'm going to show you now what the optician will see when you go into the optical store. So again, you'll need to log in. And the optician will now need to find you on his system. So he will search for the employee by using your surname, and as you see here, it's now found you. But if you had a common name like a John Smith, there could be several that come up. So what we need to do now is to look at making sure that that particular employee works for that particular company, and we can actually go into the detail of that now. And once we're satisfied that it's you working in that department for that company, then we know it's the correct one. So we pass over the order. Now, whilst you're in store, you will have seen some frames that they have within the store. You'll have tried them on, and you will have come to a decision as to which one you particularly want. So what we now need to do is to go and choose that frame, whether it's plastic or metal. In this particular instance we'll choose a plastic frame, and we'll choose the 806. And there are a number of options down here, which is more to do with the sizing of the frame for that individual. So I'll pick this one, proceed with the frame, and the next thing we need to do is to look at which lens option we're going to have. So we've got a choice here of single vision, bifocal and progressive lenses. So we'll choose a single vision. The next one is the type of lens, so polycarbonate or CR39. In most cases it will be a polycarbonate lens, so it will default to that. You've got an option to tick a photochromic lens. Obviously if you're not going to choose that, then you wouldn't have that ticked. An anti-reflective coating, the type of tint, and whether the optician thinks you need a prism. So once they're happy with the choice there, they then click and go into the actual prescription itself. So we're going to tick a near vision here, and we're actually going to just fill in the prescription here. I put a fairly basic reading prescription in. You can actually see that, and a pupil distance here. Okay. Now what we're now going to check, the optician, is that this particular prescription fits into that particular frame. So we now have to validate that prescription. So take a few seconds for it to validate it, and there we go, and it will show the lens fitting into the blank, which is this here, which is what it's cut out of, and that it actually fits in. It will show the pupil distance from the centre of the nose and where the patient's pupil distance actually sits in the lens, and it will also show the weight of the glasses and the lens thickness. So the opticians can here make an assumption or to whether or not that particular frame is right for that particular patient. If it's not, it will default, and it will ask you to go back and choose again if it's wrong, or if he thinks that the patient is going to struggle getting the heights in for, say, a varifocal, and they can just go back and re-choose another frame. Once they're happy with that, they can then validate the order, and this is the chance for the optician to put their fees in. So it will default on the optical fees, £15 for single vision, £19 for bifocal, and £24 for a varifocal. They put their site test fees in here. Okay, and here will be the delivery address that they're going to go back to. So this is a chance for them to change that if they want them to go elsewhere. And then they would send the order over to us. And then of course they log out. So that's the optician done. So the final stage in this process is the distributor. So we'll log in as the distributor. And they will have had an email, as you just heard then, an email sent to them to tell them a job has been entered onto the system and they now need to action that. So they will have logged on as the distributor, and they will look at the order history, and they will see at the top here is that particular patient again. So they now need to go into the detail of that patient, and they will see now that the job has been created and priced. So here is the price of the job, and down here are the fees of the optician. So the total price for this job is £93.65 plus VAT. What they now need to do is just put in the PO number up here, and once that's entered, the job is complete, and now it can be made in the lab. However, if any of the stages that we've just been through you don't actually enter the detail, and I'm going to leave it blank for now, try and validate that order. It will come up and say that you haven't actually filled in the PO number. So in other words, the job won't go unless this PO number exists. So they fill the PO number in and then validate it to Bolle, and the job will then be made. And then of course at the end of all of this they need to log off. And that's how the Bolle prescription web shop works.